Hey guys, so today I've been in the studio for 5 hours without coming up with any new ideas. At least any ideas that sound good, which can be really frustrating. That's why I thought I'd make a quick video on just that. How do I start a song? Is there any process to it? Are there any patterns? And what do I do when I get stuck? Hopefully that could be an interesting watch, or if you produce yourself, it could maybe spark an idea or help you in some way. And if not, just go ahead and dislike the video and write a mean comment. As I said, I struggled all day to come up with a new idea, so I'm probably not the best source of information, but I thought it could be interesting to go through some songs I've released and go through the process of how those came to life. So last week I explained how I Dip You Dip was made, that it all started with this weird sound. And that was also the case with my last release before I disappeared, like 2 years ago. I found this sound in like another plugin called Massive that sparked the idea for the track. So those two are actually quite similar, but the song Feel My Soul it started with this vocal sample that said, "Feel my love." I was trying to figure out a way to use it when I saw this Snap story or something of Don Diablo with a production tip he had, which was using the built-in vocoder of a plugin called Contact. I tried it and stretched it a bit, and suddenly it sounded like, well, it sounded like this. And it sounded like it said "Feel my soul" and not "Feel my love." And it was like completely different melodically. And by the way, actually from "Feel my soul" I'm giving away lots of the samples from the track, which can be downloaded in the description. Speaking of Don Diablo, my first release on his record label was a track called Temple. Now that one actually started with me Googling old classical Chinese songs, and I listened through this like an hour-long compilation on YouTube. I had it on double speed because it was like super slow melodies, and suddenly I heard that one and I sped it up even further, changed the melody a bit, and from that the whole track was built pretty much. Now with the song Take Me Away that Brooks and I did together, it started with the piano and a chord progression. I was in a studio in the Netherlands and was waiting for Brooks. I was just sitting on the piano testing out stuff, and I ended up with something that sounded like this. that was the wrong sound. Something like that, and the whole track was pretty much built from that. The song Breathe, I just couldn't figure it out. It took me like over a year to find the right version of it. I tried lots of different versions, like these. But I need room to breathe. But what actually ended up sparking the idea for the version that was released was actually the vocal itself from Delaney Jane. I cut like this part of the vocal, this one. I need room to breathe. And pitched it down. It sounds better than this in the original, but it sounds sort of like this. And I used that to put the bass line under it, and that ended up starting the whole track. Fall in the Skies was a bit similar. Robbie and I started with a classic vocal called Tom's Diner by Suzanne Vega. I probably pronounced that wrong, and we made the main melody based around that vocal, trying to write something that would fit to it. And then later we ended up using a different vocal. But when we had like the first version done, we sent it to Oliver Heldens, and he gave us the feedback that the melody should be a bit longer because it was like bum 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 bum. Yeah, but he wanted it a bit longer, so it went bum 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 bum, which changed the groove of the track a lot for the better. And from that we made the whole track pretty much. Those are just a few examples of ways I've started tracks, but it keeps happening in new ways. Sometimes it takes a lot of time just testing things, like it did today, but when I get stuck, I keep trying new things until something cool happens. I also have some upcoming tracks. For instance, my next single started with messing around on the guitar, and another one started with some random humming a friend of mine did. I'll tell you more about those in a later video when they're released, so remember to subscribe. If you make music yourself, let me know how you start your songs and if you have some tips, because I could really use some right now. I'm gonna get back to it and test out some new things, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.